If you traveled back in time and met Hitler as a baby, would you kill him to save the world from the monster he would grow into? That's the moral dilemma New York Magazine posed to its readers. 28% weren't sure, 30% said no, 42% said yes. Matthew Taylor Coleman falls into that category, but in his case, there's no moral argument to back up his reasoning. And the monsters he was trying to save the world from were his two innocent children. So how did this devoted dad and loving husband let QAnon conspiracy theories turn him into a deranged lunatic? According to the criminal complaint, Matthew told investigators a horrific story, a tale you're not going to want to believe. In his words, he became enlightened by QAnon and Illuminati theories. Somewhere along the way to complete madness, he said he started to get signs and visions that his wife had serpent DNA, and she'd passed it on to his children. The only way to save the world from the monsters he thought they'd become was to take their lives. Here's what happened. On a bright and sunny Saturday in Santa Barbara, California, Matthew decided the time was right. While his wife Abby was busy in the house, he coaxed his 2-year-old son Comello into the family's Mercedes van. Now, he didn't want to get the car seat for his 10-month-old daughter Roxy, so he sat her in a box in the back seat and headed south without a word to anyone. Abby didn't have a clue what was going on. They'd been planning a family camping trip, but now he wasn't answering calls or texts, so she called the police just in case. Were the kids in danger? No, she didn't think so. Did she and Matthew have a fight? No, their relationship was great. Everything was fine. He was a former professional surfer. The two of them founded Love Water Surf Company to teach surfing. They worked with marginalized youth. As far as she knew, the man wasn't a danger to anyone, but his disappearing act was bizarre, but not as strange as the rhetoric poisoning his thoughts. When he and the kids still weren't home or picking up calls the next day, the dread started building up deep in her gut. She called the police again. This time, they came over. What about using the Find My iPhone app? She gave it a try, and that's when she knew for sure nothing would ever be the same again. Matthew was almost 300 miles away. On Saturday, he and the kids checked into the City Express Hotel about 10 minutes away from Rosarito, Mexico. On Sunday afternoon, they visited an outdoor marketplace in Rosarito. Was he spending 2 final days with his kids? On Monday, August 9th, around 3 a.m., the three of them left the hotel. From there, the affidavit shared his confession. He drove to an isolated spot outside the city and pulled over around 5 a.m. It was there that he got his spearfishing gun from the back of the van. Roxy was pierced through the heart. She died instantly. Comello fought back. In the struggle, Matthew cut his hand on the spear. A couple of hours later, a ranch hand followed a trail of blood to the children's bodies, hidden in the brush about 30 yards away. One of them was in diapers. They both had large puncture wounds in their chests. By that time, their father, their killer, was back at his hotel cleaning up after stopping near a creek to throw out the bloody spear gun and clothes. Surveillance shows him leaving the hotel around 9:30, but he didn't get past the border before FBI agents had him in custody and talking. Did he know what he did was wrong? Evil even? It was one of the first questions they asked him. He told them he had no choice. It was the only course of action that would save the world. Up until 3 weeks ago, his social media was full of surfing tutorials, family pictures, and quotes about Christianity. Look at some of these pictures. Even to his wife, this brutality, the idea that he'd become so consumed with these theories that he could just do something like this to his babies is just baffling. And he's not the only person in recent memory to commit murder in the name of fighting the lizard people to save the world. Anthony Quinn Warner thought of himself as a warrior against the lizard people. He turned his RV into a bomb in downtown Nashville on Christmas Day 2020. Except, in that case, he deliberately planned the explosion to detonate in the early morning hours to limit the number of victims. In the end, he was the only one to die, although 3 people were injured. Then there was Buckey Wolfe in Seattle, who stabbed his brother with a 4-foot sword because he believed he was a lizard person. That was in January 2019. And in March of that same year, Anthony Comello confessed to the most high-profile mob killing in decades when he smashed his truck into Frankie Callie's silver Cadillac Escalade SUV, which he had parked outside his house. When he ran out to see what was going on, he was shot 6 times. But this was no Goodfellas-type mob hit, and I'll bet the Gambino mob boss would have been shocked to know that after everything, it was a 26-year-old conspiracy theorist that did him in, all in the name of QAnon. So what is this serpent DNA theory that's driving people to do these crazy things? We went looking for answers, and here's what we found. Serpent DNA is most likely a reference to the lizard people conspiracy theory that claims aliens run the world and hold key positions in governments, banking, and Hollywood. This theory overlaps with the QAnon theory that claims a deep state cabal is responsible for the evil in the world. To put it in 10 words or less. But the lizard people conspiracy has been around long before QAnon. Some reports link its start back to a 1999 book called The Biggest Secret, written by a British conspiracy theorist named David Icke. He claims these lizard humanoid creatures have been running things for centuries with power passed down through generations of bloodlines. And here's where the Illuminati comes in. In his book, David proposes that these lizard people control that group, and that group controls the world. So, that's your super quick conspiracy theory education. Now, back to the 2 children that became its latest victims. CBS News says Comello and Roxy are coming home to their mother for burial in the U.S. Meanwhile, their father could be extradited back to Mexico, where he'll be looking at a minimum of 60 years behind bars. What a sad and disturbing case. We hope you'll let us keep you updated with the latest developments, and please remember to subscribe so you never miss a recap. Until next time, take care.